What is up, you guys, and welcome to the Chosen League podcast, where Fire Sports content is the name of the game. I'm your host, Devin. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. Watch this episode all the way to the end because I don't want you guys missing out what I have in store for you today. So, as you know, Shedeur Sanders is finally drafted. It's about dang time, man. They did my boy wrong though. You know he was a top draft pick. But anyway, Shedeur gets drafted to the Cleveland Browns with the in the fifth round with the 144th pick. Shedeur Sanders had a message after he got drafted. He said, "Thank you, God. I knew the whole time God had me, so I wasn't really panicking because I understood it's about perfect timing." Yes, sir, it is. Well, before I go more in depth with this episode, question for discussion: what are your thoughts on Shedeur being drafted in the fifth round to Cleveland? And I know a lot of the execs, people like Mel Kiper Jr. He was shocked. A lot of people were shocked that Shedeur is a high draft pick, projected to be drafted high, top three, and he ended up getting drafted later on. And when you look at it, players like Tom Brady, they didn't believe that he was a franchise player. They didn't believe that he was that type, he was that dude until he ended up becoming what he became. So when we look at Cleveland's draft choice for this year's draft, Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, got him in the first round with the fifth pick. Carson Schwensinger, linebacker, second round, 33rd pick. Quinton Judkins, running back, second round, 36th pick, running back from Ohio State. Harold Fannin Jr., a tight end, third round, 67th pick. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon, third round, 94th pick. Dylan Sampson, running back out of Tennessee, fourth round, 126th pick. And then we also, last but not least, we know Shedeur Sanders. So the Cleveland Browns, their GM and head coach, this is what the GM had to say about Shedeur after he got drafted. He said, "Message is come in and work, come in and compete. Nothing is being given. We told him it really doesn't matter where you're picked. It's what you do going forward," Barry said after the arrival of Sanders to the Cleveland franchise. And also Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. Stefanski, for his part, had shown interest in Sanders since the pre-draft process, praising his character and ability to pass out of the pocket. So, like I said, Shedeur is more so to me. He reminds me of Tom Brady, pocket passer, great arm. He's not he's not the super athletic guy. Just like when Brady was in the draft, he wasn't the most athletic. Guys like Giovanni Carmazzi, who was in the draft at the time in the draft with Brady, those guys got picked ahead of Brady. So Shedeur has what it takes to change a make a positive impact on a college, or really he has a opportunity to make an impact on a franchise. I do believe he can do that. He did it with Colorado and Jackson State, but college and the pros are two different things. But I believe he can do it. Also, Denzel Ward had some words for Shedeur after he got drafted. Following the news, it was the four-time Pro Bowler himself who shared his thoughts, posting a seven-word message on his official X account, formerly known as Twitter, at Denzel Ward. So at Shedeur Sanders, time to be legendary. Let's do it. The talented defensive star posted, accompanied by a fire emoji. So Denzel Ward, he's happy, ready to get to work. And what we have to understand here is they got this quarterback situation going on here. And looking at the roster, Joe Flacco, who's still there, but he's also a free agent, so he could be out of there. You got Jerry Jeudy, Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Kenny Pickett, David Bell, who's a receiver, Denzel Ward, and Shelby Harris, who's a linebacker. So we have to understand here is this is my take on what could happen with the quarterback situation. Um, Deshaun Watson, who they got, who was supposed to be the next guy up to resurrect this franchise and really do something, didn't pan out the way it did. He's injured. I do believe he's going to be released. They're going to waive him, release him. He's not really going to be a factor there anymore. You got Dylan Gabriel, you got Shedeur Sanders, and let's not forget, you got Kenny Pickett. So Kenny Pickett from the Steelers in a trade. So you understand, looking at Kenny Pickett, his history, 3 years in the league. Um, Honestly, when Mason Rudolph was there with the Steelers, when he at his time with when it was him and Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett happened to be the guy to finish off those regular season games that were key wins for the Steelers. And then in the playoffs, he didn't really show up. So Kenny Pickett, he's a regular season type player. Don't really think that that's going to happen. They could keep him to be the next veteran and see where it goes. But with this quarterback situation, it's going to be a battle to see who gets the starting spot. Now, it's going to be opportunity for Shedeur, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel to fight for the starting spot. One guy's going to be a starter. One guy's going to be the backup, and the other is going to be a third string. And what you have to understand is every NFL team, they can only have a roster that only has three quarterbacks. They only need three. You got five right now. That's if they decide to bring back Joe Flacco, but highly doubt it. But Shedeur is getting the opportunity to do what he does and really show that he is able to play at the NFL level. He can play at the pro level. So last thing I want to talk about before I end the show, fifth rounders in the NFL who basically were a success. Number one, we got Stephon Diggs in 2015, George Kittle in 2017, Matthew Slater, wide receiver from the Patriots at the time in 2008, 2011, Richard Sherman, Tyreek Hill 2016, Kyle Williams 2006, Herschel Walker 1985, and Kevin Green 1985. And so Shedeur has the opportunity to make make something happen. And also, last but not least, let me add one more extra player in there. Sam Howell, as we know, who's with the Vikings, he was he was drafted in the fifth round, 144th pick, like Shedeur. So it's it's it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter where you get picked. It's it's how you handle those situations. You can get picked at any point in the draft, any round. But in the end, are you willing to put in the necessary work? Can you make the best of your situations? And we understand all the false narratives they were trying to throw on Shedeur. Shedeur should have been a top draft pick, and he should have been up there because it was him and Cam Ward. But Shedeur is going to prove them wrong. I believe in Shedeur. I believe he's going to do great in the NFL, and he's going to have a great career. That is all for today's episode. Once again, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. I'm Devin, and I'm signing off.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show.